Representative Andoe.
Good morning.
Your district includes Clallam, Jefferson, and parts of Grays Harbor counties. And you recently held a town meeting in Montesano, which is in the Grays Harbor portion of your district. How was the turnout for the event?
The turnout was wonderful. There was probably 90 people there, which was great to see. It was the third town hall that Representative Theringer and I have done over the past couple of weeks, and it was great to see that many people turn out in Montesano. It was a midweek event. It was raining, and we had to do it late because we had to finish up our business in Olympia and then get over there, but it was wonderful to see that many people turn out and be that concerned about what's going on at the state.
Education was a big topic at the town hall.
Yes.
For example, a lot of concern was expressed about the rising costs of higher education. You told the crowd that you're concerned about costs, but there's something else that concerns you even more. Can you talk a little about that?
Well, yeah, the bigger concern for me is the number of spots that we have available at our state universities and colleges and community colleges, because if we don't give somebody the opportunity to get into a community college or technical college or university, we're going to affect their life forever. So although tuition's a big concern of mine, and making sure that the most needy people can get the tools they need to pay for college, the number of spots available is also very concerning, making sure we have enough for all our children.
You were asked about the possible loss of levy equalization dollars for local school districts. Can you explain what levy equalization is and why it's so important to rural districts like yours?
Right, and it is very important. Levy equalization is money the state gives to rural, property-poor school districts so that school districts across the state will be more equivalent, that pretty much all school districts in the state will have the same opportunities to give the children that they serve the tools they need. And so on the Olympic Peninsula, most of the school districts get levy equalization money. There are a few that don't, but most of them do. For many of them, it is critical funding, and we're working really hard to maintain levy equalization money.
The superintendent of Montesano Schools came to your town hall, and she asked how the legislature plans to address the state's paramount duty to fund basic education. And she talked about how more and more costs are being shifted to school district. What's your response to that?
There's no doubt that public education is the state's paramount duty. What defines education is something that we're constantly looking at, and the actual definition of basic education hadn't been updated since the 70s, and a few years ago the state updated it, and that increased what basic education means. In the 70s, students with disabilities were treated far differently than they are now. Computers were not in classrooms in the 70s. So all of those things were added into what the definition of basic education means, and that's what we're really trying hard to make sure we're funding. But levy equalization, what we just talked about, is not part of basic education. Also, the initiatives that were passed by the people, 732 and 728, dealt with teacher pay and classroom sizes, are not basic education. So we're trying to fund as many things as we can in public education, but with this budget crisis, we're probably not going to be able to fund everything.
Other than education, the other major topic that came up was funding public employee pensions. The legislature is considering doing away with automatic cost of living increases for retirees. How would this actually save the state money if currently those increases aren't being fully funded?
Well, the two pension systems that we're considering getting rid of automatic COLAs for were closed in 1977. So these are much older pension systems, and the automatic increases were started in the mid-90s, so they were not originally intended to have automatic increases. The fact that we're considering getting rid of the automatic COLAs doesn't mean that there's not going to be COLAs. It just means that they're not going to get one every single year, and that will help make the pension systems more or better funded, and that's what we need to have. Make sure that going down the road, the state takes care of all its obligations towards pension systems.
It sounds like there was a lot of good discussion in Montesano.
There was, yes.
That's great. Good to see people coming out. Thank you.
Thank you.